believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let
Donald Trump doesn't know what a subsidy is. Subsidy is a benefit given to an individual, business, or institution, usually by the government. It can be direct or indirect. The subsidy is typically given to remove some type of burden, and it is often considered to be an overall interest of public. This would be Mexico. Let us give you X amount of dollars for you to have remain in Mexico and keep all of the immigrants there so that they don't come over here. That would be a form of a subsidy. That doesn't happen, but that would be a subsidy. A subsidy is not, we are trading X amount with you, and you are trading Y amount with us, and that deficit of X minus Y is now what we are subsidizing you for. That is not like, that is just not at all how that works.
it become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your first administration cost Americans some $80 billion, and now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their...
Why is she asking this question? That's not... Does she know what a tariff is? Does anyone know what a tariff is? A tariff, the whole point of a tariff is to increase... Where's my graph? I love this tariff graph. I think this article shows the follow-up to after, which I'll highlight. But okay, this blue line, this is domestic supply. This orange, domestic demand. This light blue, world supply. And then over here, this is the domestic price. This is the world price. This is the quantity domestically, and this is the quantity produced by the world, right? In Trump's ideal world, we would be able to domestically supply everything that we are domestically demanding. We do not live in that ideal world. We live in a deficit. So that is where imports come in over here, because we are demanding all the way up here and we can't supply all the way up here. Okay. So we have to import that whole thing. The purpose of a tariff is to be a deterrent to consumers to not buy imports by putting them on an equal playing field, equal pricing as the domestic production. So the whole purpose of the tariff is to make this world supply price match the domestic supply price so that people will be more incentivized to buy domestically because they don't have the incentive of the world supply being cheaper. That is the whole point of a tariff.
They have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman. I say properly used. But it didn't cost this country
25% across the board tariffs on China, on Canada and Mexico is not at all reasonable tariffs. At like,
tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Well, again,
tariffs are a tool, okay? They're just not the tool that you want to use to lower prices. It's a tool that you want to use to build up infant industries. That's why I don't have that much of an issue with Biden expanding the tariffs, because he expanded them to include EV batteries and solar panels. And these are infant industries that the US still has time to develop and become like the country in, right? Like EVs, it's the future. Putting a tariff on Mexico now, one of our biggest agricultural imports, it's not building up any industries. It's not like we can start magically producing corn and avocados all over the country. Like, we can, scale that we're demanding, not the scale that Mexico is doing. Definitely not every single, not when he's boarding all of the farmers because they're illegal immigrants. Like,
And I put a 50% tariff on the washing machines coming in from China and South Korea. And Whirlpool and the companies that made washing machines, which are based in Ohio, largely based in Ohio, went through the roof. We saved thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. They were all going out of business because they were dumping washing machines. And when I put the tariffs on, they became successful businesses. No, it didn't. Not only didn't it cost people, it made our country stronger and more powerful, and it kept jobs.
I'm not even going to bother to fact check. Okay, I don't know the situation behind the whole Whirlpool thing. I'll give him that, okay? If he did Donald Trump single-handedly save Whirlpool's entire business by putting in these tariffs, the reason that he did so was because of what I just explained. Because now all of the Chinese and the South Korea, like, it wasn't like Whirlpool magically started having Chinese manufacturing costs, Chinese production costs, and Chinese labor costs. that it's ridiculous that she's still asking him.
Consumers don't wind up paying more. Will you punish CEOs who try to pass the cost of tariffs onto their customers?
Well, the market's going to take care of it. I mean, actually, the market takes care of it. And if it doesn't, we adjust it somewhat. But in the case of Whirlpool, or let's say companies that made washing machines, they were all being put.
I mean, actually, the market takes care of it, and if it doesn't, we adjust it somewhat. What does that mean, Mr. President? What do you mean you're going to adjust the market to take care of it?
I'll go a step further. Tariffs are going to make our country rich. Tariffs are going to help us pay off $35 trillion in debt. Tariffs are going to make our country safe because China, as an example, doesn't want to play games with us if we're going to do tariffs on them. They don't want to play games. And we have a lot of games being played on us right now.
Well, I think, and that takes me to my next question.
Yeah.
Are you
Why is she just like what, Mr. President? Oh my God, you just said so much. Do you actually expect Americans to start mass producing everything from every country that we are importing ever? Do you think, Mr. President, how are we going to have all of the factories for all of this? Mr. President, what do you mean by paying off $35 trillion worth of debt? Mr. President, do you intend to pay off all of our national debt with tariffs?